review for you, and it is for The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Guin. This is an adult sci-fi. I believe it's more of a classic sci-fi. I think most Ursula K. Guin sci-fi is classic. But it is part of her Hainish cycles. You do not need to read any of the other books in her series before starting this one. And it is about a planet called Winter. It has another name as well, but I have forgotten it. And an envoy from a trade federation who is coming to this planet to try to get them to join the Federation, basically, or to offer. And on this planet, it's a little bit different. They do not biologically have the organs of the different sexes for most of the time. I believe it's once a month or so. They go through this process called chimera, where they have the hormones to develop these organs so that they can reproduce. And it's something where, you know, if you have that and you're attracted to a partner and they're going through it at the same time, then you sync up and you are able to reproduce. And if you become impregnated at that time, then you stay sort of in that body or with those organs until the child is born. So it's a very interesting, different society. And the plot is basically about this envoy that comes and is trying to negotiate and get these people to join their federation. And they go to a couple of different countries and you get to see the world and how it is there. So the plot. Honestly, probably the first half of the book is very much more character and world building focused than plot focused. You know why this envoy is there, and you know that what their goal is, and you follow them. And so it is definitely something where you're more inside the character's head. It's a dual perspective, but then there are also chapters that involve legends and I guess history from this planet to help with the world building. But for the most part, it is dual perspective. One perspective is the envoy, and then another perspective is one of the people on this world. And this person is like a political figure. So it is very much from the perspective of them at first, and it isn't until probably a good halfway through the book before things really start picking up. But I am someone who really enjoys a slow build and enjoys a slow development into the progression. And I just really loved this plot in the end. I wasn't entirely sold on it until certain events happened. I can't really get into it because of spoilers, but goodness, this book, this is definitely my favorite of Ursula Le Guin's sci-fi that I've read so far. And part of that is because of this plot. It was just so it was so good. Okay. So moving on to world building. Oh my goodness gracious. Ursula Le Guin, I think that this is one of her the way that she does exposition is one of her strengths, in my opinion. I felt like I didn't even feel, there were no lore dumps, aside from the little chapters in between that went into the sort of history of the world and their legends and that sort of thing. But even those, the way the exposition was done, it wasn't, oh, this person went and did this thing because of these reasons, because the world is this way. It was very natural, and part of it was the envoy perspective of not knowing about this world and learning about it through his eyes. And then part of it was just things were happening, and it was like, oh, so that's how this is. Okay. And I don't know, it was so excellent. The world was so fascinating, and the culture was so rich. I loved it. And on top of that, you don't even, like, it's not even just the culture of that planet. Because the envoy is there, you get to learn more about his culture and where he's from. And it touches on cultures of different planets in this galaxy, universe, whatever. And I don't know, it's just, I'm sorry, I love Ursula K, and this book was no exception. The world building was excellent. So yes, moving on to characters. These characters had some very interesting, I'm trying to think of a better word. They had amazing arcs. The envoy, when I first started reading it, I did not like him at all. I was reading it and I was like, gosh, this guy is such a jerk. Why is he even an envoy? Because he was so biased and almost prejudiced against the people of this planet. Because he was sitting there thinking, why is this person doing this? Why is this person this way? And I'm like, maybe because they're from a different planet. But he grows and learns, and just everything that he goes through in the story, by the end, he's just had so much growth, and it's just so good. And then the other perspective is someone who's much more knowledgeable about the society, because like I said, they're a political figure, and just their sincerity, and I just loved it so much. The characters were excellent and amazing. They had wonderful development, and there weren't very many. There were a few side characters that got built up, but the focus was very heavily on the two perspective characters. I will say that if you start reading this and you don't like the perspective characters at first, give them a chance, because they do have amazing growth, in my opinion. So yes, that was The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. I loved this book so much. In case it wasn't apparent, I had a very hard time not just gushing throughout this entire review. It is more of the classic sci-fi feel, so if you like more fast-paced plots, then maybe skip over this one. It does pick up eventually, but it's much more about exploring ideas and worlds than necessarily action. So that's the only, I guess, flaw it has, in my opinion, but for me it wasn't. I loved it so much. I hope this review was helpful to you, and yeah, let me know down below what you thought of this book, and I will see you around.